You mentioned in our connecting, when you and I were connecting through Podmatch, you wanted to anchor our conversation in Ephesians 2:10, that we are his workmanship, created for good works. When you were standing at the peak of the avalanche, or standing at the peak of the international corporate sales career as an SVP, I should probably ask what an SVP is, but your identity was naturally tied to from performance and provision. And when the door slammed shut 48 hours, how did Jesus redefine your understanding of workmanship apart from a paycheck?
Man, what a wonderful question. Yeah, I think it actually goes back a little bit before that, Kristen. And you've done a wonderful job truly of setting it up in terms of this is what life was like for me, and SVP being senior VP, just meaning, we're talking the executive levels of sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm the sole breadwinner in my household, and that was always by design. We have 3 living children that we raise and we homeschool. And so the primary distribution of work was in large part, as you had described, right? This is breadwinner, provision, those types of things. And then my wife is the primary educator. But it was actually a handful of years ago, while I'm still in the workforce, that God really began to give me clarity on things. And I was listening to a sermon by Pastor Matt Chandler out of Texas, and Matt described it ever so slightly differently. But what the Holy Spirit told me in the moment as I was listening to this particular sermon was, he said, quote, "Because you are a created being, you are subject to, not central in, your own life." And Kristen, this is 2023, I believe, when I have this super clear deposit from the Holy Spirit. Because you are a created being, you are subject to, not central in, your own life. And weeks before that, 2-ish, 3-ish weeks, the obstetrician had said, you guys are good to go. Everything's good. Mom's healthy, baby's healthy, all of that. So this fully came out of nowhere and really rocked our world. That's kind of an understatement. Truly rocked us for eternity. Okay. And it's Luke's death that humbled us, crushed us, brought us to our knees, to then we cried out in surrender and said, this is beyond me. This is beyond us. We need you. And what that began to do, sorry, go ahead.
What? I need some help on the words used there.
Okay, let's definitely unpack that.
Right.
But I hear directly from the Holy Spirit where he says, because you are a created being. Okay, we'll just pause right there, right? So he's like, you are created. I created you, is the message that he is communicating to me. Okay, not central in your own life, one in which I am endeavoring to honor him in the way that I carry myself. Okay, my salvation and the entering into relationship with Jesus Christ caused things to change immediately and instantaneously. So there were things that just immediately were totally different. And it's just wild to see how like it was that then and it is this now, right? And that the way in which we handled our finances is different today than it was back then. We couldn't even afford to do a tithe, okay? And God literally helped us get out of debt, blessed us through that process when we said, hey, we've screwed up. We're doing this all wrong. Let's do it your way. So that progression at this point in our conversation in the story is about a decade long. And so when the Holy Spirit says, you are subject to, not central in, your own life, I'm thinking, man, up to this point, I've been trying my best not to be central in my own life, right? Yes, I took care of my husbandly duties, my fatherly duties as provider, caring, loving, all of those things. but my prayer life looked like, hey, Lord, what about this? Hey, could we do this? Could we have that? Will you make this deal happen? You know what I mean? Those types of things. Will you show me who to contact? Will you have these people answer my emails? Those types of things that are serving me.
Uh-huh.
And all of this is happening in my mind, in my life, in the context of, well, if I'm successful at work, then we're able to provide. This is what I'm supposed to do. These types of things, right? Well, when the Holy Spirit goes, you are subject to, not central in, it really began to radically change things. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by radically change things.
Mm-hmm.